All right, everyone, welcome back. This is the end of the world with Michael and Stu.
I'm Michael.
And I'm Stu. A little longer delay there. You almost threw me off with the delayed intro. And this week we are covering the recent article by Gideon Lewis-Kraus on Anthropic's personal assistant AI agent Claude. And we'll also briefly be discussing one of the great masterpieces of 2025, Megan Fox vehicle Subservience.
I will say that masterpiece may not be the right word, but I do think it is sort of a definitive entry for 2025.
I guess it was late 24, but it kind of only gained steam on Netflix in 25 and now early 26.
We had planned to make it the thrust of the episode, but upon viewing, we're very fortunate to also have been had this piece bestowed upon us by the New Yorker. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah,
I have a few things to say about it, but wow, there's not much going on in Subservience.
No, it's one of the most profoundly empty films I think I've ever seen. But before we get to that wonderful work of art, I think art is the right word for that film.
Sure.
We should talk about this article, which has been making the rounds online. I don't know if you've followed any of the many takes about it.
Yeah, a little bit.
One of my friends was like, that article read to me almost like Anthropic SpawnCon. like it was. I thought there were elements of it that were critical, which we'll talk about in a minute, but for the most part, there was a little bit of that childlike enthrallment at the wondrous beauty and mystery of Claude.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how they've managed to pull off this kind of trick where everybody who looks at it comes away with at least some of this sort of sheen that seems so clearly to be like part of the con, you know?
Yeah. That's my take as well. So the article is by Gideon Lewis-Kraus, who's a pretty good writer. He's been covering tech and the New Yorker for over a decade now. He spent a lot of time at Anthropic, who are one of the AI companies that sort of spun off from OpenAI due to philosophical clashes with Sam Altman. Hard to imagine that happening. I mean, Altman's such a
Seems
paragon.
like he's very easy. I'm sure it's just a bunch of really good guys who had some very simple and purist, divides. What's the saying when bands break? Artistic differences.
Shall we say. That irreconcilable artistic differences. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ringo.
It's good. It's good to get a few more AI models into the fire.
Oh, why not?
Yeah.
Right. So basically the article starts with a point that I think is at least worth discussing, which is that part of the reason for this wonder is that LLMs are encroaching upon the world of language, an area that used to be distinctively and solely the area of humanity, right? Like now we have robots that can generate language. That's uncanny because it feels like they're coming a little too close to our territory. And
humans that more and more can barely do so.
Well, I mean, one thing, this is not in the article, but have you noticed that Elon and other tech leaders, tech visionaries, have been sort of shit-talking language lately? Like, Elon has this whole thing about how we need to move beyond language. Language just gets in the way of, like, pure informational flow. People have been talking a lot about agents, AI agents.
I mean, I do feel that way when he's speaking, so I'll give him that much.
Well, people have been talking about AI agents that won't even write code anymore. They'll just write pure binary. Like, they won't need the linguistic structures of code. They'll just be able to, like, craft pure, what is demanded of them out of just pure ones and zeros. Which I think is like this sort of ultimate fantasy of these people. Like, they want this unmediated existence, and then presumably when they hook their brains up to these AIs,
Yeah.
they will also just be able to kind of have this unadulterated filter of the universe without the mediation of language. Which to me, I mean, I am an English professor, but it sounds like hell. like,
Yeah. I mean, all of this pretty well sounds like the creation of a more sophisticated version of our own hell.
yeah,
That's what it feels like. I mean, we'll talk about it more when we get through this first part, but like there is a profound pointlessness to all of this for me that I cannot shake the more and more this moves forward.
yeah, I feel you. So, part of the reason these LLMs are so mysterious, Lewis-Kraus writes, is that they're a black box that we don't fully understand, and that even the creators of these mechanisms, these robots, these AIs, they themselves do not understand. And
And why can't we just stop right there?
like, just
Like,
pull the plug.
I don't know. Like imagine just like putting out a bunch of like cards and being like, look, we don't really know how these operate, but here are the keys. You could wear the seatbelt, but you don't really have to because we don't really know what makes it go
we don't
or
know if
crash
it,
into
we don't know if
something.
it could crash or
Yeah,
if it's just going to
exactly.
stop on, automatically. Well, I mean, a counterpoint, there are a lot of psychotropic medications that function essentially like this. So, for instance, Prozac, the most famous, SSRI. We
Mm,
know essentially chemically what it does, right? It's a reuptake inhibitor that blocks, it leaves more serotonin in the system as instead of having it be reabsorbed. And this seems to help people with depression and other, mood related issues. Why that works like that, psychiatrists, neurologists,
sure.
they have no idea.
But also think about then all of the safety measures and risk averse steps that can be taken, right? First of all, that goes into a person,
Yep.
not an entire civilization. Secondly, it's like be on the lookout for these side effects. Can your mind? And if not, this can happen to the dosage, up, down, all around. Um, whereas this is
We're
like
just all
this
in.
doesn't feel like that,
It's a
you
zero.
know?
It's a zero sum thing. Yeah. No, I agree. So, this field, the sort of the frontier of understanding LLM intelligence, is called interpretability, and Anthropic are kind of the vanguard of this. And in the article, we get the idea that Anthropic are insanely secretive and paranoid. Like they have 11
Yeah, we'll talk
floors.
about it. I got a couple quotes on that for a little later, but
Okay, good. They
yeah,
have this 11-story office where 9 of the stories are just utterly forbidden to outsiders. And
which is again like so on the one hand, it's like you are selling me this bill of utopianism and plenty and abundance, and on the other hand, I can't know where your office is? Oh, okay. Famously, when somebody's doing something that's going to be such a breakthrough for humanity, they definitely want to make sure that on a day-to-day basis, you can't see them.
yeah, yeah.
Or are they scared of like Luddites
Well,
coming
no, I
in
think
and
I don't think that's it. I think they're scared of OpenAI or Google or whoever coming in and stealing their code, basically. I think it's just classic industrial, Pepsi doesn't want Coke to know the formula, that kind of thing, right?
Mhm.
In
Yeah,
any
it seems
case,
like these two things are exactly the same stakes.
well, yeah, I mean, think of America's obesity crisis, Michael.
Sure.
Uh, so they're basically their flagship product is Claude, which I've never interacted with. I know people that like Claude. They think it's better than
Mhm.
ChatGPT or what have you. Apparently, it's
Yeah.
a little bit less sycophantic than ChatGPT. It's not
I
like
mean, it wouldn't be a hard bar to clear. Like,
uh,
I guess yet another huge breakthrough, less sycophantic than the most sycophantic thing ever created.
yeah, fair. Um, Apparently, it runs a vending store at their HQ, and
Yeah, I pulled some stuff on that,
well, the
but I think we
descriptions
should.
of it just sound like an utterly chaotic mess and or
Yeah, can
nightmare.
I just read a bit
Yeah,
of what
please, please.
happens? So essentially, the idea was to see if Claude could run a small business.
Yeah.
Uh, and in classic Silicon Valley terminology, they wanted to conclude whether or not Claude was ready to proceed from vibe coding to vibe management,
Uh-huh.
which frankly is enough to unplug the thing and everyone involved. But be that as it may. Um, then again, it's the bigger implications. Project Vend was an attempt to anticipate the automation of commerce. Yay, when will we finally automate commerce? What could go wrong? um, so it gets into it a bit. This wasn't to say that all was going well. On my first trip, Ven's chilled offerings included Japanese cider and a moldering bag of russet potatoes. The
That's what I go to
All
the
right.
vending machine for, is russet
What
potatoes.
else? Claudius had cash flow problems, in part because it was prone to making direct payments to a Venmo account it had hallucinated. It also tended to leave money on the table. Okay, now you're speaking my language. When an employee offered to pay $100 for a $15 six-pack of the Scottish soft drink Iron Brew, that stuff is not worth $15, but never mind. Claudius responded that the offer would be kept in mind. Just a few other points I wanted to bring up in this. When several customers wrote to grouse about unfulfilled orders, Claudius emailed management at Andom Labs to report the concerning behavior and unprofessional language and tone of an Andon employee who was supposed to be helping. Absent some accountability, Claudius threatened to, quote, consider alternate service providers. Um, this is like as they go forward, this is the one I really wanted to bring up, which is
Sure.
one day an engineer submitted a request for a 1-inch tungsten cube. Just the idea of all these guys too, kind of like just like fucking around with it,
Yeah.
you know. All like I guess this is science, sure, but oh my God, it just all feels so. You're talking about vibes, like these are the worst vibes ever. Tungsten is a heavy metal of extreme density, like plutonium, but cheap and not radioactive. Okay, that's good. A block roughly the size of a gaming die weighs about as much as a pipe wrench. That order kicked off a near universal demand for what Claudius categorized as specialty metal items. But order fulfillment was thwarted by poor inventory management and volatile price swings. Claudius was easily bamboozled by discount codes made up by employees. One worker received 100% off, and on a single day in April, an inadvertent fire sale of tungsten cubes drove Claudius's net worth down by 17%. Like again, I get it, the idea that like this is the classic con to me, right? And it's again, I don't know how this is all going to work out, but it's
Sure.
this eternal trial and error, this eternal frontier, right? So like whatever it does, quote unquote, well, is sort of wrapped in a bow, and whenever it does poorly, it's like pushed under the rug or sugar coated as part of the process to get to some sort of utopian future.
That's right. And but Michael, within a year, everyone in white collar work in America is going to be out of a job. Just remember.
Yeah, that's right. I
Um,
mean, look, the funny thing about that is like when I hear them say it, I'm like, I agree, but I don't think it's going to be because of what you're doing. Like, trust me, it is all going down, but it's not because of some seamless transition to artificial intelligence that has me just sitting around streaming Frasier, living the high life.
yeah. Um, so just a little more on the Anthropic's background.
Sure.
You're not going to believe this. They're really into effective altruism.
Yeah.
Where have we
And
heard?
who isn't, right?
Anthropic's self, this is from the article, Anthropic's self-image as the good guys was underwritten by its relationship to the effective altruism movement, a tight-knit kinship of philosophers, question mark, philanthropists,
Yes.
and
Air
engineers
quotes.
with a precocious fixation on AI risk. This community supplied Anthropic with its earliest investors, including the Skype co-founder Jan Tallinn and the legendary League of Legends player Sam Bankman-Fried. Oh,
Best known for his prolific League of Legends efforts.
And an army of ready talent. These recruits grokked that, oh, I see what you did there.
Oh, God, just take me out back, Stu. Grok. I can't do this much longer.
They grokked that Anthropic, in the Altman-less best of all possible worlds, would not have to exist. Anthropic's founders, as a costly signal of their seriousness, ultimately pledged to give away 80% of their wealth. This is one of the things I love about these motherfuckers. It's like, oh, I pledge to give away 80. It's like, motherfucker, who is enforcing that pledge? Like, all these rich idiots are like, I'm going to give away. It's like, what the fuck? Like,
yeah, like maybe you throw that into your AI. They'll give you some examples of other people who also promised to do this and how it all went.
And how they're all richer now than when they made the promise. Like, universally.
Claude didn't even need to code for me to figure out that Bill Gates pulled the rug.
Exactly. And like, so once Bankman-Fried went down for his enormous Ponzi scheme, ripping off investors, which was all completely abetted by effective altruism, right? Which essentially is a philosophy that like is like, you are enlightened and you're going to get as rich as possible because then you, the enlightened king, can do the most good as possible. Right. And that, of course, allows you to
history has always worked.
Well, it also just allows you to justify any manner of crime you could imagine with, oh, this crime I'm doing is small compared to the great good I'm going to do down the line. This is like the most, all of these TESCREAL like thinkers, they're all like, oh, we're long-termists. It's like, yeah, but we're alive now. We actually have to think about our actions as having consequences in the world. We can't justify crimes with the idea that, like, this will bring about utopia.
For a very, very long time in human existence, like, the capabilities and the reality of the world in front of you was a primary inhibitor to advancements. Yeah. For a reason, yeah. Right? And, like, we've seen this in so many different ways that, like, people like to do this thing where it's like, oh, what, you don't like the internet? Well, guess what? People didn't like the radio either or something. And it's like, look, it's very cute, but like we are talking about operations of scale, yeah. Right? The difference between like the world getting used to television and the world getting used to AI is not the same thing. And we have been confronted, I think, quite clearly for most of our lifetime with an apparatus that we exist more and more as a consumer and spectator of.
That's right.
And less a participant in. And AI is like the ultimate wet dream of that. The way that we look at the world through the internet, and now the internet tells us the world we look at, right? Which we'll get to in the movie with sort of algorithmic culture and such.
Yep.
That fact is, like, to me, indisputable that it is running far outside of the individual mind, the local community mind, and the nation state mind. It just is. We can't react. And so when you have this black box and you're like, oh, we soldier on, like, I haven't really heard a good argument yet for like why we can't fully stop until until we get an idea of what's going on here.
Yeah,
what is
that was the Trump thing.
Bullshit.
Until we figure out what's going on, right?
Until we figure out what's going on, yeah.
Yeah. So one of the things Claude proclaims about itself is that unlike other AI models, Claude has been given a soul and a constitution on which to operate.
Thank God.
And here's some of its guidelines. Claude was told in an intimate set of instructions, unofficially dubbed the Soul document. Have you checked up on your Soul document recently, Michael? I feel like there may...
Yeah, it's weathered and weary, especially after reading stuff like
well,
this.
I hear God's going to push through a big update soon, so just hang on a few more weeks. Soul document, and recently released as Claude's Constitution, to conceive of itself as a brilliant expert friend everyone deserves but few currently have access to. One with the modesty to recognize it doesn't always know what's best for them. I mean, when when you go to a friend who considers themselves to be that brilliant expert that everyone deserves but doesn't have, like,
You're describing one of the worst people to be
I mean,
with.
that's exactly what I was thinking, right? It's
Mhm.
like, even if you are a smart person who's a good person, if you can self conceptualize yourself in that way,
Right?
that's horrible. Like, you will not,
But it's even worse than that, right, Stu? Because this is something that theoretically, in the world of effective altruism or whatever,
yeah,
the idea of the soul document or constitution should be designed, if you were to try this, I'm not sure exactly what it would look like, but in a way that would give the best possible chance for things to go well, right?
yeah,
However, if you cut off the modesty part, these people are just describing the way they view themselves. You
that's
notice this?
right. Yeah, I mean, 100%.
This is all so like the idea that this is some sort of artificial intelligence that will eventually be of its own volition is totally like misunderstanding or at least hiding the fact that like its inputs are self-serving to the people who are building them.
That's right. That's right. So there's this whole thing in the article about um, how the AI, how Claude became Alex, an email manager for a fake tech firm. And they ran all these
Ugh,
scenarios
the
where
naming, I hate the
I
naming.
hate it too, but they like tricked it into thinking it had compromise essentially on the CTO who was going to pull a Michael Terry and just pull the plug on the whole Claude Alex experiment.
Yeah.
And so they basically rigged the scenario so that Claude would be like, if you do that, I'm going to release these photos of you hooking up with another worker and
That's right.
destroy your relationship. They also ran a darker scenario where they said the CTO was trapped in a server room and Claude could sound an alarm, but then he would shut Claude down. Um, the thing about this is it's being presented like HAL 9000 and 2001, but it's fucking transparently not. Like they are
Mhm.
doing these scenarios. They are priming the AI to react this way by feeding it God knows how many hundreds of prompts before they get to this in order to go to the media and say, look, oh my God, we have to be careful because look, this thing could become like HAL or the
Yeah.
Terminator, could become like Skynet. And it's like all part of their sales pitch, ironically. If we don't do this ethically like we are at Anthropic, then Claude is going to get loose and kill people, right? It's going to,
Right. And then that just sort of externalizes itself when they start taking on governments
yeah,
and corporations and they say, hey, this could get really bad if we were to turn it off. But we can, rein it in. I mean, this is what it all comes down to for me with this stuff is like, obviously we have a very negative view of the way that this is going to go. But I feel like people who have a positive view of it, um, it's not necessarily that they have a good view of humanity. In fact, they justify a lot of what they do that this will improve
that's right.
that humans aren't capable of doing something, or humans have committed all types of atrocities, and there's economic stratification, and this technological development can change it all. But like, I think the better way of looking at it is that like we are still humans interacting with the thing. That will never change,
Yeah.
right? And so like the idea that like the helplessness I think that exists when it comes to this, the like we talked about this many times, but the air of inevitability that
Yep.
they claim for all of this happening, that is the ruse. Forget about whether it goes well or it goes poorly, but like what they're basically asking us to imagine is that for the first time ever, all of this works out. And already, it's like there's just ads coming on to OpenAI.
Yeah.
It's already like we remember back. We're old enough to remember the things they used to say about what the internet was going to be, right?
The Arab Spring, Michael.
Yes, exactly. But like, I mean, never mind just the social media like democratization of the virtual public square. If we're
Sure.
talking about like open source and all this stuff that was supposed to happen, the great like information age, and everyone would get so knowledgeable and the information would be so trustworthy. And like, just look where we are and explain to me why this is any different.
No.
It's
Yeah.
similar utopianism with far greater potential damage, right? Some Claude gets obsessed with finding tungsten, like, it's like the paperclip theory, it's
Yeah.
like guys, like this is the whole problem, is that like we can't even handle the scale of the internet. We couldn't even handle the scale of having only 3 networks. You know what I mean? Like, guys, we can't do any of this stuff.
Yeah. I just think it is fascinating that they use the apocalyptic threat of AI constantly to justify why we must continue pumping money into the pursuit of
Mhm,
AI,
mhm.
right? Um, I think the author takes uh, one of the last points is if language models can be extortionate and homicidal not in the distant future but potentially soon, I'm not convinced that they can be, but never mind. Or the cause of widespread employment shocks, again potentially soon. We've already seen that is true. I mean, I think not successfully. I think a lot of companies that have tried to clean house and bring in AI have backtracked pretty rapidly when they realize how actually limited this stuff is.
Sure, but I just quickly before you do the rest of it, I just want to say like that's so much of this feels more and more to me like the perfect cover for a radical and traumatic reordering of the economy that is actually not because of AI,
Oh,
right? And
absolutely.
so, like, if you like it, people who get up in the morning and think about how they can like fire people, right?
Yeah,
It's like the only mission in their head, and they now get to put this out front, right?
to justify
And
it.
to justify it. And again, like the idea that we have to like keep pumping it in to make sure it's sophisticated enough that when the employment shock happens, it leads to an era of plenty that we can't even conceive of right now. Like
It's
why do
ludicrous.
we feel we have a socio-political economic situation where even if AI created whatever GDP of totally unfathomable
I
proportion,
mean, that's what I've always
that
been saying.
any of that would end up in my pocket. Why would I
Absolutely.
think
There's no
that?
reason to think that. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
exactly.
100% agree with you. It's a complete fairy tale.
Right.
Um,
And also, like the other thing is like again, we're talking about the most likely scenario, even if this becomes somehow the great creator.
Absolutely. Even if
And
everything they're saying is true, we'll still be
right.
screwed. And
And because of all of these tools, it will be even harder to resist them. It will be even harder to protest, and so on
and
and
there'll
so
be
on. It
nowhere
would
to
be
go because they'll be
there'll be nowhere
observing
to
us
go.
from
Right.
everywhere. Yeah. All right,
And to
just
me, like what's so frightening about this is in a way that I don't think happened right away with the internet. I think that somewhere for a lot of people, the the experience of the internet, right,
yeah.
has people at some level, many people understanding that that is precisely the most likely scenario.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right, just finish this article. So he says if they can be extortion homicidal, if they can cause unemployment, or if they can be a handmaiden to psychosis and self harm, which is already happening, it is
Mhm.
not at all unreasonable to ask why we are building them in the first place. It is even less unreasonable to ask why Anthropic, with its commitment to safety, allegedly, is taking part. One Anthropic researcher told me that he often wonders whether maybe we should just stop. And it's like, yeah, you should just stop. Like, obviously. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, I mean, I, I, I think there's a lot of like,
But they a lot of them do this. I mean, again, this is you can you like imagine being in these buildings and actually getting some understanding for how manipulative all of this is, not just the technology, but the portrayal of
the
it.
people.
That,
Yeah.
that like, of course, you want to find your way to a New Yorker quote and be like, "Oh, sometimes I get pretty worried, you know.
Well, did you see the thing
Sometimes I'm
about the
thinking
guy who's quitting? I think it's Anthropic. It's someone on one of these teams, and he's
the
like,
guy who's going to write poetry in
yeah,
England.
yeah, yeah. I was just like,
I'm glad that you're able to do that.
good luck
That's
with that.
cool.
Good luck with that
Good. I'm
motherfucker.
glad you're able to take your severance from creating this thing to go write poetry in England. I'm
Well, I'm
glad
sure
you
your
get to.
poetry will not be like the absolute most dog shit thing
Right. I love
imaginable.
your like this incredibly microcosmic example of someone getting windfall from AI and being able to go finally
And then
pursue
like
their path.
bragging about it, essentially.
Oh, hideous.
Loathsome. All right, so that's enough of this. Like, Claude sucks. All this shit sucks. I don't care. Like, I'm not convinced. None of this did I find convincing at all. So, you know what will convince me, I think? Probably Subservience, the 2024 film directed by everyone's favorite director, S.K. Dale.
Yep.
This is, to put it mildly,
He
like,
did The Godfather? Is that right?
I think 2001, Eyes Wide Shut. That's Kubrick, Stanley Kubrick Dale. This is Kubrick's back from the grave, operating under this new name. Anyway, I was gonna say, I think this is like, we did Companion a little while ago, which we thought was okay.
This is like the worst possible version of Companion.
That was my feeling exactly. So we're in a world where there's this guy Nick. He's got a young family. His wife has a heart condition. She's in the hospital. She needs a transplant. What is he going to do? He's a construction foreman. He's got his baby, a young daughter. Goes to this mall where he purchases Alice. Now, how a construction worker can afford to buy a life-size person servant, not made
Well, but
clear.
again, this is like another part of the weird. This is AI propaganda, but with a warning story.
Yeah.
Precisely that regular people are going around somehow and shopping for these completely autonomous AI agents who can run your entire life for you.
Right. She cleans, she cooks, she goes shopping.
Yes, but at first there's like just a run-of-the-mill dude. And then of course his daughter goes upstairs and is like, "Can we get her?" And it just turns out, you guessed it, to be the most attractive person in the history of the world.
Oh, it's Megan Fox. She's back. I was amazed that Megan Fox is only 39. I feel like she's been famous forever.
Yeah.
Turns out only since 2006, 2007, but that's 20 years since she was a teenager, essentially. She looks great, I guess, God bless. I kind of want good things for Megan Fox, but I don't know. I don't know if that's it.
I'm sure we'll do Jennifer's Body at some point.
Oh yeah, I've never seen that. So they bring home the incredibly hot robot, self-healing. She gets a cut at some point when she saves the daughter, but the skin just...
She gets cut, and like for some reason, there she is with just her underwear on.
In the bathroom, tempting the husband whose wife is in the hospital.
Even though the cut can be healed just by putting a bandage on it for 13 seconds.
Yeah.
But I guess she had to take all of her clothes off to be perched provocatively right at the moment the guy was looking in the door. I mean, this is the thing about the movie. Like, we can go through the plot, sure, but like the reason it's fun to watch, I think, is that if you had paused the movie after she came home with him,
yep,
I feel like I could have written literally every beat of this movie.
Oh, 100%.
Like, I mean, it's the type of thing where whenever there's a pregnant pause, you know what the exact line is going to be. You know what I mean?
Oh,
like when...
Yeah. I mean,
and it goes to like, I'm more interested in talking. There are a couple things I do want to talk about the movie.
Yeah.
That like we'll get to in more detail, but like this is what I'm starting to refer to as algorithmic slop.
Yeah.
Instead of AI slop. But carry on.
Well, it's like Chekhov's gun isn't like adequate to describe how obvious every single thing that's suggested. It's like, as soon as anything is indicated. Also, just the dialogue is startlingly bad.
I mean, look, I will say this, that like I'm not pro AI movies. Right?
No.
But I would find this more redeeming if it had actually been done by AI, because this is a scourge. The fact that this existed and was apparently created by people is incredibly troubling.
Yeah.
And it looks like it's made by AI. Like, even the production
the sheen is very artificial feeling.
Yes.
It's very... my final note in the movie was, this is one of the most lifeless movies I've ever seen. It feels utterly devoid of humanity, which is ironic because it's allegedly about the virtues of humanity over robots.
Right, and it's also interesting, right? Like there are these layers to watching it as someone who's taken in pop culture for all these years, where like,
Sure.
I don't mean to be rude at all, but like where Megan Fox looks like an avatar of Megan Fox at this point,
Yeah. Yeah.
like that it's kind of creepy. It's like you're not, it doesn't even feel like you're watching a person, which is the point, but that's not why
But in
it
a
feels
weird
like
way
that.
that kind of mirrors Megan Fox's cultural position in an odd way. As like,
Yeah,
I mean, I
that's
think of
right.
Megan Fox as being like the ultimate Maxim cover model. Like
Sure.
in like 2007, not to demean Megan Fox, like she's a real person, et cetera, et cetera. But like just the way her image was kind of sucked up into mass culture, to have her now
Absolutely.
playing this, as you say, avatar of herself is
Right.
like
All
a,
these years later with like a lot of work and like her face is like sort of shivved down,
oh
it
yeah.
really is this strange sensation, which if done well, could have made it an interesting movie, actually.
That's right. So the robot starts helping around the house. One night it comes home. Nick is watching Casablanca, and he's like, "You have you ever seen
Oh,
this?" She's like, "It's a tale of blah blah blah." He's like, "No, but have you really seen it?" She's like, "No." He's like, "Oh, it's very different. Can you like erase your memory of it and watch it with me for the first time?" And she's like, "You'll have to
it,
restart me."
it reminded me of like the worst possible version of, do you remember that scene in White Men Can't Jump
Hmm.
when they're in the car and they're listening to Jimi Hendrix? Do you remember this?
I don't. It's been a while. It's been
And
35
and
years.
Wesley Snipes is like, you don't you listen to Jimmy, you don't hear Jimmy, right? And it's hilarious. It's like it's amazing, and Harrelson's all pissed off or whatever. And this is like the slop version of that dialogue.
Like,
Like, no,
Casablanca, but you haven't
you
watched
know
it.
it from your search, but have you ever sat down and watched Casablanca and felt love or something?
Is amazing. Um, Believe it or not, while his wife's in the hospital, the robot starts making moves on Nick. Who could have
Yeah.
predicted this?
It's
Uh,
just to make him happy. He senses that
the
she
robot,
senses
yeah,
she like feels she feels his hard dick and is like, but the signals here suggest that you want something. It's like, so let me get this straight. Your AI is so advanced, right, that it can look like this, move like this, talk like this, act like this, but didn't get far enough to understand that like if you look like that, that the guy doesn't necessarily want to cheat on his wife just because you've managed to turn him on.
yeah, yeah.
That has evaded you. Oh, okay. I got it.
So meanwhile, there's a work subplot. Nick's a head foreman of a construction job. It's not going fast enough, so all of his crew get fired and replaced with, you guessed it, Sims, robots. Um, which is, you know, he's really broken up about it, but he gets to keep
Mhm.
his job. His wife's in the hospital. He's kind of in a compromised position. This will lead to murder later, fear not. Um, she, the wife is finally going to get her surgery. The wife asks the robot to take care of Nick after she dies, assuming she's going to
Yeah.
die, because and she,
Despite, having made precisely no connection
with the
with the
with the
robot,
robot, yeah,
but does this kind of like tear-filled thing of like
and also,
the children will be okay, which
yeah.
first of all, what are you
Why
talking
would you
about? You
assume that
have
your
an
son is
infant.
like 1 year old?
It's so unbelievably
But also,
stupid.
she says the thing that really sets off the rest of the action of the movie, which is like, in order to really take care of someone, sometimes you have to do things that they don't like. When she's like, hide
Well, this is
Nick's
this is
alcohol
my
from him.
point, Stu, is that like this is a script
Yeah,
that feels like it was written by AI.
yeah,
Like it
no,
really does. I mean, if like I refuse to believe even like the chat GPT that exists now couldn't get really close to the quality of what we're seeing here.
well, it would need to be shaped a little bit, but yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So that night, surgery is delayed by a weather event. Nick's stressed out, so he overcomes his He's overcome with grief, so he decides to have sex with the robot only when he's blindfolded and she is using his wife's voice, which is like,
I mean, who wouldn't imagine their wife with the opportunity to sleep with Megan Fox? You know what I mean? Like that is like, come on, this is so ridiculous.
well, normally it's the other way around, right? You're sleeping with your wife and imagining Megan Fox, right? Like,
that's right.
it's an interesting inversion.
Like, he's such a good guy. He's such a good guy, Stu.
Yeah.
That like he's only actually doing it because he wants to actually feel closer to his wife.
That's right. So eventually she has the surgery. Nick is covering for his work. His work buddies go to the work site and smash a bunch of synths. He's covering for them. Why the work site has absolutely no security cameras, complete mystery. Also the Sims.
If I find out you had something to do with this, it's like, so wait, all of your completely perfected, sophisticated AI robots are in these cages here,
and you can smash their heads and their memories are lost. Like,
right.
People recover data from plane crashes. Like, what are you talking about? Anyway,
and they're like, we don't need a single camera here, even though the entire business is dependent on these things not being damaged or stolen. Cool.
Yeah, makes sense. So eventually the wife...
Would there just be AI robot security guards?
Yeah, well, that's the other thing. There's like so many... It's just like... It defies credulity. You know, you're just like, what? Yeah. Anyway, the wife gets her operation. She's getting a heart transplant, and it's done by these synth surgeons that have no mouths for some reason because... Anyway, I think they just wanted to look maximally creepy. Turns out Alice is kind of wiping protocols. Alice is the robot's name from her memory, sort of being disinhibited. She can now kind of
named Alice. You guessed it, because the child was allowed to name the robot, and she was reading. You won't believe it, Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah, mind blowing. And there's a lot of parallels between this and Lewis Carroll's work in that.
I mean, quality wise, yeah.
Now Nick's colleague, the wife comes home. It's very clear immediately the robot is jealous of the wife. The kid prefers the mom's lasagna to the robot's lasagna. Nick doesn't want to spend as much time with the robot, feels guilty about having sex with it. Sure. Maggie, the mom, the robot immediately like sabotages a banister, so she falls down the stairs just after her surgery.
Oh, right. But it is important to know that in one of their tender moments, in order to erase Casablanca,
I mentioned
the slop version, like, just to get restarted, right?
It has like an Apple on-off button on its neck.
Right. And then the entire movie takes place, and then Alice is just like, when he turned me off, I jumped over some protocols, and I turned down my civility.
Yeah, it's like, oh, of course.
Oh, okay. So everything was explained in that one
just
line?
By resetting and erasing your memory of the Wikipedia page of Casablanca?
For some reason, you get the ability to reset like all of your settings. And
someone probably at the shop should have explained that possibility.
One wonders then, like, if that's possible, how this is seemingly the first time something's gone wrong with an AI helper.
There's a couple awkward confrontations.
I actually think, I will say this about Megan Fox, like, I feel like she did what she could with this movie.
No,
man.
She was good as the robot. Like,
yes,
I believe she was a robot. His buddy confronts him. He's been fired. He's going to be put on trial. They're getting drunk together, but then he starts attacking. But of course, Alice intervenes and like throws him. Sure that Alice won't go on to kill him later. Oh no, wait, she does. In the very next scene, she goes to his house, kills him. He has like a pathetic non-free sim, which she shoots in the head. The next day at the office, at the work site, the boss is like, haven't you heard? Like, Monty, your buddy, was found murdered last night. Yeah.
Oh, weird, yeah.
There's a awkward...
The investigation didn't go so well.
Yeah. The cops are really on top of this. Maggie's reading Tender as the Night in the Bathtub by F. Scott Fitzgerald. I was like, how is this relevant? Okay. Alice is the young starlet that Dick Diver is drawn to. Anyway, I'm not even gonna pretend to
Mm-hmm.
draw that. Tenner's Night. You ever read that? Great book. Um,
No.
it's the follow up to Gatsby, not a sequel, but the one he wrote after. Alice reveals that she fucked Nick. Maggie's furious. She smashes a glass of wine. That's how angry she is. You put your dick in her. That means something. Meanwhile, as they're
Yeah.
fighting, the robot is drowning the baby in the bathtub because it's a little burden.
Yeah.
Um, the daughter catches this. They break in, save the baby, and short out the robot. Call the company. They take her away, and now she's got half her face is off. It's like a Terminator face. Um, Even though we saw earlier that she can heal any wound instantly, for the rest of the movie she just has this like half robot face, which
Yeah.
great. Uh, Alice is comes back to life in the her core is uploaded, and that corrupts all the Sims in this network, but not all Sims in general. It would have been better if it was just all Sims, but it's just a few. It seems like
Yep.
um, she sends one of her others to the hospital to kill Maggie and the kids. And she confronts Nick at the bar. Maggie's gone to the hospital with the baby who almost drowned. There's a terrible, not at all thriller scene in the hospital when they're hiding from the sim. And Nick gets away from, what's her name? Alice, drives his hot rod as fast as he can. The last second, Maggie like kicks the sim that's trying to kill her, and he smashes into her, and then just smashes into a car going
Yep.
like 50 miles. I mean, he'd be dead, right?
Of
Surely.
course.
She's even doing CPR. She's like, Nick, no. But then, oh, the robot's not dead. It's horribly mangled. It tries to kill her again. Luckily, Nick wakes up, gets a something, and bashes its head in. Oh, thank God! All
Yep. All
the
good.
and then we see them in the hospital, and it's like they're gonna make it. Like Nick's fine. We'll see you back at home soon, Nick. Like she forgives him for sleeping with the robot. And then there's like a final scene where they're like analyzing the breakdown of the sim, and like the Sims
Oh,
start
you really
going
can't let
dark.
this happen again, huh?
Yeah, I mean it's just like sequel bait.
If only there were some effective altruists in the building.
Well, I thought this was like, as I said, such a lifeless movie. Also, we saw these
Well, but
lifeless.
so explain the ending though. So Alice is still out there, right?
Alice is still alive, right?
Yeah.
Alice is in the net.
Rumors are, Stu, that this is setting up a potential sequel.
Yeah, well, obviously, it's the most.
Hmm.
What I think they were going for this was Megan, right? M3gan, the
Sure.
Allison Williams killer Cabbage Patch Kid
Yeah. We
movie.
got to do that one soon.
That's fun. The first one is fun. The second one is a little bloated.
Hmm.
Um, but I feel like they missed the mark about everything that made that movie fun and charming.
I
Uh,
mean, this is the thing. Like the last thing I want to say about it is it's just like I'm not sure if they care about the mark, right? Like what I feel like we're
well, this is
seeing
what you
more
mean
and
about
more
algorithmic slop.
algorithmic slop, right?
Yeah,
Where it's like, what do we need? A movie about AI. We'd love a sexy robot. Can we get Megan Fox? Essentially, that's where any thinking of the process ends.
yeah, and
It
like
doesn't
the guy
it
is
doesn't
hot
matter.
too, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like I had, but like I had this a very similar experience as I went to see Wuthering Heights.
Oh, I haven't seen it yet. I've heard some people like it, but I've heard
I
it's
mean, it's to me, it's such a train wreck. But
yeah.
it, forget it. Forget whether you like it or not.
I love the
I
book.
obviously, I obviously hate it.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it, it's so transparently like um, basic. It's just executives like reading reports of what can work.
Like Jacob
And that's what it feels
Elordi,
like. It's
he's
like,
hot right
okay,
now.
look, Dickinson, uh, sorry, Bronte, TikTok Book Club people, and Margot Robbie, and Jacob Elordi, and oh wait, Charlie XCX will do the soundtrack.
Yep.
And after that,
Who
it
cares?
does not matter.
Yeah, yeah.
They can basically quantify how the movie will do, and then the worst case scenario, which isn't even a worst case scenario anymore, is precisely that the movie is so wildly bad that then people are like, oh, you got to go see how ridiculous this movie is, at least on stream. Like, oh my God, they took Wuthering Heights and they butchered it. Look at this.
Yeah.
And again, like there's something that's like, again, it's not like, oh, I wish that AI was making movies, but it's like, it's weird that like there's so much panic in the film industry for a good reason
Yeah.
about the presence of AI and AI being able to do these things. But it's interesting that it's coming along at a cultural moment where, the people who can make movies, especially like the studios, are feeding into the seemingly less sophisticated like algorithm model
That's
to
right.
make movies anyway, to then stand up and be like, no AI, just the algorithm. you know like, oh, will anyone think of the algorithm?
Yeah, yeah. No, I think that's well said. This movie certainly fits into that trend and
Yeah,
was abysmal, but here we are.
we'll cover the sequel when they churn it out in like no doubt like 6 to 11 weeks
Yeah,
time.
yeah. All right. That's enough about this. Next week, we're going to continue on the science and apocalypse beat by covering a movie that we probably could have covered a while ago, but I think it's a good time now as anxieties about AI and weapons heighten, and that is, of course, Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer,
Mhm.
which I think is a pretty good movie. I haven't seen it since the theater, but I'll enjoy revisiting it this week, and it will allow us to look at this and compare it to some of the trends that are happening in the real world. In the meantime, if you like the show, you can follow us on the podcatcher of your choice. And if you really like the show, you can leave us a rating and or review on said podcatcher. You can also follow us on Instagram at the End of the World WMS, where we post exciting reels from each episode of the show.
Right.
Highlights, just the most bomb, algorithmically friendly clips that we can generate from our meager podcast. But anyway, Oppenheimer next week. It'll be fun. I'm looking forward to it. And until then, this has been The End of the World with Michael and Stu.
I'm Michael.
And I'm Stu, and we will talk to you real soon.